Hey, welcome back to the Group Project Podcast. This is episode number 107. I've got somebody who we had here way back at the beginning when the show was just in its infancy. Her name, those of you local to the Marshalltown, Tama, Toledo area, you guys know this person. It is Shauna Smith. Shauna is the Director of Instruction for the Marshalltown Community School District. Shauna, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me. Very excited to be here.
And Shauna, you are not, I see an interesting poster behind you. It looks like it's like a Longhorn. Like you are not, where are you at right now? Where are you?
I am down in Texas, Dallas, Texas. Even though this is actually some pretty cool art, and I think it's growing in popularity up in Iowa.
Yes.
But I'm down here in Texas for a NIET conference, which is the new instructional framework that we'll be implementing over at Marshalltown. So very excited to continue learning. And I've been networking with a lot of professionals outside of Iowa. And it's always interesting to kind of hear and compare notes on the different progress that everybody can make, but somehow we all seem to have similar challenges at the same time.
So Shauna, I mentioned Shauna was on episode number 2.
Do not listen to it.
Have you listened to it recently?
No, I can't. I don't think I could.
Well,
and now because I said not to listen to it, all of a sudden your data is going to spike in episode number 2.
So, I mean, yeah, I think the show's come a long way from episode 2 to 107. Just like anything you do in life, you kind of make tweaks along the way. I do know at that time there was a lot of things I didn't have figured out. So I hope this one goes a lot better here, Shauna. So, but yeah, I had the pleasure of working with Shauna for 3 years. Shauna worked in the position of Director of Curriculum and Student Services here at South Tama. And then just this past year, got a really cool new assignment, a promotion at Marshalltown, which is Director of Instruction. So maybe just kind of reflect on the change this last year, going from a smaller district to a larger district. Just what are some thoughts you have about that change?
So anytime you transition roles, it's kind of bittersweet. And I think I'm probably preaching to the choir here with you, Jared, knowing that you're spreading your wings and flying back to Waterloo. I had the opportunity to do that as well. I have worked at Marshalltown Community School District before. My family lives in Marshalltown. My children go to school there. So it was really feeling like a calling to go back and to serve the community. It's been a lot of work. There's been a lot of hours that I've put into the role and just real dedication. It doesn't feel like work when you're really passionate about it. So time really does move pretty quickly. But the biggest change for me has been leading from a district level from that 3A school into a 4A school district and really trying to maintain a shared vision without getting pulled too far down into the details. Mm-hmm. So like details that I would have been able to manage and kind of dip down into at South Tama, I have not had time or the focus to be able to get down into that same level of details at Marshalltown. I don't know if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yep. Anytime you transition roles, I think you always want to, enter into that opportunity ready to listen. A lot of my work has been developing culture, reminding everyone that we're people first, being genuine. I think like showing gratitude and attaching what I see out in classrooms or in meetings back to teacher agency, which is essentially the impact. We see teachers making impact every single day. Mm-hmm. And not only teachers, but our principals, we really need to make sure that we are honoring and thinking through that lens of that was a lot of additional effort, time, passion that our principals put into instructional leadership beyond covering classrooms and the staffing shortages that we have and recognizing them for that. And I guess at Marshalltown, we have more principals. At Saltama, there's 2 at the elementary, 2 at the middle school, 2 at the high school. So essentially 6 principals where, there's 5 total administrators at the high school at Marshalltown. So it just expanded greatly with the amount of people that I try to collaborate with on a regular basis. And I hope that at the end of the day, or if we have a one-on-one meeting, they're walking away knowing how genuine I am with the appreciation of the work that they do.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about that. I have written down a lot of notes as you're talking. I've written down appreciation, recognition, culture, collaboration, one-to-one meetings. I want to talk about all these things. You talk about appreciation and recognition. I think that's one of your greatest strengths, having worked with you for those 3 years. What are just some things that you are intentional about doing? What does that look like in daily practice?
I think my best advice, and Jared, you could use this too.
Go for it. Let's hear it.
Is not having a carbon copied message for appreciation. So see, I don't
keep going.
I don't think it means as much to people. So like, if I have something super specific that I can tell someone about the work that they've done, why it was, it built impact, or why I recognize that, it goes so far. But if it's kind of like hey, good job everyone for having this meeting till 8 o'clock and everyone, collaborated. As many blanket statements as I could possibly lump together there, I'm not catching a single person's attention when I say those things.
Mm-hmm.
I really am not. And it seems kind and it seems genuine. And even though it probably is, if I haven't spent time being really specific with individual recognition, or just simple stopping into a colleague's office and saying, hey, I can't believe how responsive you are. Like every time I ask you a question, you have always answered it. And it almost gives me guilt because I can't be as responsive as you are. Those things can go a long way. So I do think that is the secret. Being willing to write down a message, like you do a great job, Jared, with handwritten messages. I think that making sure that you have something specific to that person that shows their identity and their impact just takes it from the extra mile to the extra 10 miles. I don't think they forget it.
For sure. One thing that I noticed about you, and really in general, what sets apart, you've got a real unique job. We talked before the show. You are actually not the direct supervisor of all the principals. Right. But yet you have to work very closely with a number of different principals, people who are in high profile positions, who probably have, egos, and they make good money and all that. But yet you're able to build relationships with those people. And I think that sets great district leaders apart from the others. How do you do that? You talked about the appreciation. You talked about some of the recognition. How else do you build strong relationships with the building leaders?
I think if there are any district office leaders out there listening, maybe another secret I would have is be willing to admit when you're wrong. I think being willing to be vulnerable, or even modeling that being vulnerable, is super important when you're working with building level leaders. Nobody is perfect. Understanding what it's like to walk in the shoes of a building level leader is critical. We have instances, and we've had them a lot this year too, where somebody's gone and I step into the role, and it's just a gentle reminder of, this is why they're pulled from a 90-minute meeting, because, student A injured this other student, and the principal is the person who gets called out for that. So I think it's just important to always try to keep in mind that if principals, and it doesn't really matter who from the building level, are willing to take the time to give you feedback, whether it's positive or negative, you have to be willing to not sit back, lean into it, listen carefully to what they're seeking, what are they really asking for? And then, in my opinion, what really bonds the relationship is repeating back what they've tried to communicate to you. So an example of that is we had a principal meeting this last week on Tuesday. I actually did it from the airport. And one of the agenda items was literally like a communication thermometer, or communication gauge, kind of like the stress-o-meter that I've done before, but like specifically communication. Tell me how you feel district level communication to building level communication is going, and tell me what we can do to improve. And I don't know if that's happened recently. I definitely hadn't done it in the last 9 months. So it was kind of a nice activity to kind of integrate in, but it was quiet. You could tell that I'm seeking criticism in a way, right?
Yep.
But genuinely, like I genuinely want to know what they have to say. And I kind of gave them an out, like, hey, we've got one-on-ones, we've got a chat, here's some other ways that you can tell me how, like, what you would feel more comfortable with communication. If there's something specific that you are needing from me or from my office or from the teacher leaders that work with us, just always trying to keep that on the forefront. So we did have one really easy request, which was, when central office administrators or when people from central office are gone, is there a system or is there something in place where you notify the building level leaders so we know that you're away and we're not, that we're not able to reach you? And it was really timely because I was actually sitting in the airport when that question came up. So I said, I don't even know what to say here other than I can absolutely text you and let you know when I'm not in my office. And just so you know, you're probably going to get that in the next minute because I happen to be sitting in the airport and I'm going to be gone, Tuesday through Friday. So, and I have not been away for professional learning all year. I maybe have done like some virtual stuff, but I haven't done face-to-face. So anyway, it was just it was great feedback. I did follow up with that principal later and just said, hey, can you give me more context? And it opened that door. It's just seeking feedback, but try not to set back on your heels and, lean in. I think leaning in is just a much better approach, and it opens the lines of communication.
So let's talk about, I want to dig into the details of the stress-o-meter or the communication gauge. So in a best case scenario, and granted, you were doing this call from the airport on your phone or on your laptop.
Yeah.
But in a meeting, what does that look like? Like what ideal situation, like how would that conversation go? What are you asking the people in the room to do?
This probably loops back to that transition question that you asked. So I entered the conversation centered around, I want to be sensitive to the fact that I'm moving into this role. I haven't even completed an entire year. I'm sure by now noticing that I do things differently than the person who had my role before. And I want to hear from you if there are pieces that I'm not doing that you would like to see me do. And I'm not aware of that because of course I wasn't here when whoever it was had this position. So it really came from that lens of tell me what I can do differently. Tell me how I can help support you. And I can do everything, that I know to uphold that. The suggestion of letting us know when you're gone was actually like oh yeah, no problem. That's no big deal. But at the same time, I'm looking for more there. So I was thinking that probably I need to let them think on it, let the gears turn and come back in a month or two and ask the same question, just looping back. But really in my opinion, it's a way for me to be maybe proactive with what was happening before that you believe I need to be doing. It's kind of easier for whoever it is, right? So scenario is principals come and say, you should be doing this. Or you as the district level leader, open the door, open the opportunity for the principal in a safe place to say, yes, I think maybe you want to have this on your radar because so-and-so did this. And it's March now, but I think maybe it usually happened in January. You're like, wow, what great information to know. And I think making sure it's genuine and safe is a really important step of the way. If you can't do that, then don't even bother with the conversation.
Okay. You've mentioned a couple times one-on-one meetings, and that's something that I'm familiar with as well. We've had a couple episodes. One of my favorite episodes is episode number 100, where we talked to Mark Horstman, who I like to call the godfather of one-to-ones. But talk to us about one-to-ones. What is that? What are those? And what does that look like in your role?
Yep, it's definitely something that requires a lot of time, dedication. There's sometimes some shifting around with your calendar. So you have to go into it knowing that it's a commitment to uphold over the course of time. But I guess my thought with these one-to-ones is we're able to collaboratively problem solve, and we're always looping back to work. So we're able to look and see progress over time, together. And I think that it somehow enhances the communication. Not only for me, it's district communication, but also to the building level, because I meet one-on-one with the principals as well. So, and for principals, it's every other week. Sometimes I do meet with a few of them weekly because they've requested it. And I would honor the request if anybody were to ask that. It's just when you look at your time that you're allotted and the size of the district, you start to figure out that, okay, these one-on-one meetings are going to be 10 minutes long if I have to meet it, like it can't, it's just not doable. But I'm impressed with how quickly my colleagues at Marshalltown have adapted to it. If anyone has to make a switch, it's usually me because of my calendar and how tight my calendar is. Every once in a while, I'll have a principal who has a crisis or something come up and they're not able to meet with me. But I actually meet with our assistant principals as well. And I debated at the beginning of the year whether or not I didn't want to waste their time, and I'm so glad that I meet with them because they have an instructional lens that is different than our lead principals. And it's incredible what they can bring to the conversation and, or the questions that they ask me that I'm able to hopefully, get back to them and help them along with. But overall, that one-on-one time is so critical for any direct report to feel valued and appreciated and that they've got support. That I know mentally, and this is true for you too, Jared, that the people who come to you for a one-on-one, they're going to bring what's pressing or what's on top. Like that's the purpose of that one-on-one. And so I know if they're bringing that problem to me, that my role is to help problem solve, like we find a solution together that we agree upon. And whatever that solution is, we decide who's going to execute it, right? And most of the time, honestly, it's the direct report. It's not like it's adding, unless it's a big, significant, an admin needs to take care of this. Most of the time it's on the teacher leader that I supervise. But it's been incredible. I feel like I have a general knowledge of the progress at every one of our buildings, the challenges and the growth, the growth areas or the strengths. And then at central office, it just feels like we have connections, like all of our work overlaps, and yet it's still purposeful in different, lanes as well. I don't know if that makes sense.
It makes sense. Real quick, you've kind of talked about, okay, principals, assistant principals, biweekly. Can you maybe just give us a rundown just to give us an idea of who you're meeting with and what the frequency is?
I meet with our superintendent weekly. And that's Wednesday mornings, usually about an hour and a half to 2 hours. That's the longest one-on-one. I don't think it's recommended to go that long, to be honest. But it is still my first year. And I'm all of the other one-on-ones are 30 minutes. Although I have a buffer time in my calendar, which is absolutely essential, of about 15 minutes. If you look in my Google Calendar, it actually says like extra time. And they're just these little splices, but it'll pop up as a notification, extra time. And I know that I have 15 minutes to close down that meeting, right? If I have that 15 minutes and that's still not enough time, then we know we've got to look, when is our next one-on-one? Is that free? Is that soon enough, or do we need to try to schedule again? And there are several, like we have a mentoring coordinator who it's just, there's been a lot of work on her plate. So there's some roles where, okay, this was not enough time. We definitely need another half an hour. So we try to find it in my calendar. And one phrase that I learned from our superintendent is there's always time, like 2 words, always time. So I have that written on a Post-it and it's literally stuck to the wall in my office, because from my lens and through my role, I literally bounce meeting to meeting to meeting to meeting, and it's so all of them are important. There is not one that's not important. But you have to have a mentality of, I'm going to be present in this meeting, and this, there's always going to be time for whoever needs me next, kind of a thing. Anyway, so I have a one-on-one with our superintendent. I have one-on-ones with all of the direct reports or the people that I supervise. Those are like teacher leaders. We call them CPDLs, kind of like John Hebner over at South Tama. And then we have a ELL coordinator, preschool coordinator, and a technology integrationist or integration specialist. So we have essentially, there's 7 roles there that I meet with weekly, and those are about 30 minutes. But like I said, I have a 15-minute buffer time. If in the case that, hey, we don't need that extra 15 minutes, I use that 15 minutes for follow-up. Just try to like either document what it is that I need to do. I always have like a to-do list on a pen, a piece of paper, or I'm sending emails as follow-up because that's what we had talked about, communication that was needed. And then I meet with all the principals every other week, including assistant principals. So that's about 14 people. And then I meet with all of our cabinet members. No, I don't. I do not meet with our HR director. So cabinet members are also 30 minutes weekly.
Wow.
And I will tell you, this is more advice that you probably aren't asking for. The meeting with the director of communications is so important. And I didn't know if I should or shouldn't. I just thought, well, let's just try. And for HR, honestly, I need one. I probably needed one this whole year. But I definitely need one now, in the spring with hiring. So I probably need to start that back up. But I am, at South Tama, there really wasn't a full-time director of communications. That's something you will have in Waterloo, and encourage even your associate superintendents to connect regularly with that person, because what I'm doing is showing the director of communications the lens of teaching and learning. How do we promote this to our parents? How do we, how do we engage? Sure. Have we pushed out this, event? How do people know the art show is tomorrow? Those things that are just really critical as like an educational system.
You gave me a great segue, because my next question was going to be about social media.
Oh, yeah.
And so you have taught me something here. So I tell this story a lot. I've written about this. Previous leadership stops, I was always a little uneasy about befriending or friending, whatever you want to say, employees on social media. I always thought there needed to be that little bit of, you use the word buffer, a little
Yeah.
bit of a separation between leader as a high school principal and our employees. But when I got to South Tama, you convinced me to start accepting friend requests from employees. And I know this sounds so minimal maybe to some people, and it sounds, why are you wasting your time talking about friending employees? But I have bought into it, and I've even started already in my new position. But talk to us about your philosophy with social media.
So I think we started the podcast with you mentioning how positive you are with your positive mindset. And um, I think that's just a part of us, both of us, genuinely, right? And I think that's probably where this came from. It's this notion that like our staff will share the really important things, whatever is really important to them, they'll share it on Facebook or social media. And if it's really important to our staff, then it's really important to us as leaders. And it can be just a really neat, like the whole we're people first, right? So the idea of we're people first, I get to know what's important to you. You lost your grandfather. That's just awful. One, I get to give condolences right then and there, along with the other staff members who are friends with, it really probably helps create a culture of community and support. But also, I know that that's happening in your personal life behind this, rock star teacher that you are when you come to school every day. And that can loop back to teacher agency and really drawing back to, what I recognize in people and the strengths that I see. So I don't know. I just think it kind of completes the full picture. And I don't think we would have had that opportunity before social media. A lot of people have negative things to say about social media. I'm not on social media searching for the negative. I am there to see like kind of like what is our school family? What are we proud of? What's important to us today? And I don't, in a bigger school district, you'll notice this too. It's harder to stay as connected. Like South Tama, I definitely felt like very connected to all three staffs. And it just kind of depends in Marshalltown with how much time I have to scroll through what's there. And then the people who I am friends with. I need to do better. I think at South Tama, I actually this is crazy. Some people will be like, oh my gosh, I would never do that. But I went through the directory and I like searched for the people on Facebook and asked them to be my friend. And I'm not never am I offended by somebody who does not want to be my friend. That's not a problem. But if they want to, then it just helps me to have like a little bit of insight on their life. And I have not done that strategy or used that strategy for Marshalltown. So a lot of my friends that I have on Marshalltown are actually people that I probably knew before I left Marshalltown. And there's some newer hires that I need to groom, like just groom through who I have and who I don't have and ask some people to be friends, which for the most part, people, if they know who you are, they're excited to have you as their friend. Mm-hmm. So that's my philosophy. I don't know if it's right or wrong, but it really hasn't, I don't know, nothing earth shattering has happened for me. A lot of what I post is either family related or school related. So, it kind of depends on the leader and how private of a world they want to have on social media.
Sure. One thing I remember you being really good at, and it's becoming more and more important now as we're facing staff shortages and teacher shortages, is I think you're really good at recruiting staff and trying to convince them to come to your district. But Marshalltown is not a huge metropolis. It's not a Des Moines. It's not a large city. So what are some of the tricks that you use to actively recruit teachers or admins or support staff to your district?
I am not willing to share those secrets because we're in a massive staffing crisis.
Oh,
no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Kidding. But still, like, yes, I used some strategies when I was at South Tama I don't actually have those strategies while I'm at Marshalltown because I think I use Teach Iowa where I could communicate with like the entire pool of teachers.
Yeah,
And
sure.
I don't have that access at Marshalltown. But we do a lot of promoting on social media. You use Canva, I use Canva. Everybody has a different way to like design their graphics. If you don't know how to design graphics and you're a school leader, take some classes because I think this is the future. It's just incredible to see what you can design with templates that are already there. And it really exercises more of a creativity kind of muscle in my brain. But the one strategy we used that I think has definitely helped is bringing in anyone at any step. So honoring experience for whatever reason in education, maybe this is only an Iowa thing. People who are listening across the United States might think this is crazy, but we typically honor only up to like the 10th step. So you could be a 20-year veteran teacher and we for some reason think that you're only worth 10 years because you're switching into our district. And that's, I learned that it was a little bit tough on some of our veteran teachers who have been here a long time, like dedicated to the district, because this is just such a change in mindset. But we were thinking through the lens of recruitment and pulling in the best people for the positions and who, you don't want to put barriers in front of those applications. And if one of the barriers is, I have to take a $15,000 cut to make this change, even though I want to be located in Marshalltown or I want to return to my hometown, whatever the story, we were hopeful that we could fill some of those open positions. It's worked pretty well. We still have open positions, so it's not been this like magic wand, but that has been something that was definitely out of the box kind of thinking. I don't believe it was my idea, although I can't really remember whose idea it was. Might have been, I don't know, someone on our cabinet, I'm sure. But we have really been trying to come together and think through what can we do to fix this, staffing shortage and provide the services that our students need every single day. You wrote down a lot of notes.
Yeah, I've been writing down. I've been writing down a lot of notes. I was going to ask you one more question. I'm looking at the time here. I promised you like 45 minutes. And you're in Dallas. I mean, you got to make a night of it here. You got to go do something here. So one thing you've told me about is just the way you've been able to utilize your your secretary, your personal assistant, your executive, whatever you want to call that position.
Admin assistant.
Admin assistant. So tell us, what are some unique things you've asked your admin assistant to do for you?
Well, first of all, I don't think I mentioned her with my one-on-ones. That is a really important person to have a one-on-one with. I have positioned myself in my office so that I can see her through. So when I work at my table, she is in my direct line of sight and we are always talking and collaborating. We have gotten to know each other really well. For Christmas, I got her a doorbell, and it is literally a button she can push at her desk that makes a sound in my office. So it reminds me that I need to jump into a different meeting.
Oh,
geez. It is great. It plays lots of different songs. But I think really starting off with developing a relationship with that person is critical. And I'm just overly blessed with the person that I have because she is positive and willing to take on any task that I throw at her. And then another thing that I would challenge anybody who's listening is to hand over the reins to your calendar, to your admin assistant. That's countless minutes in a day that hopefully you can trust your admin assistant to take care of. Typically I get requests in an email where somebody wants a meeting and I'll forward it to her and say, hey, can you help me with this? And she has it taken care of and done and scheduled and communicated before I would ever have a chance to get to it.
Mhm.
So that just kind of impacts efficiency, and like looking down the road, I'm able to say, okay, where did that meeting land? And I can see it in my Google Calendar. And then another conversation that I would challenge you to have with your admin assistant is probably centered around like, where do they see themselves? Like, what skills do they want to develop? Or what are the, is this a position that they see themselves in long-term, or are there goals that you can help them to, achieve, kind of a thing? And aspirations are critical to, I think, job satisfaction. So don't forget about, like, have those conversations with your direct reports, or have those conversations with those closest to you. I just think, don't forget about your admin assistant. And we've got two, and I know with detail what both of our admin assistants would like to grow into. And it really helps open the lens of the capacity, the projects, the different challenges that you throw their way, because there's purpose to it. Hey, I think that you're ready for this task because XYZ. And time again, they both impress me with their work. And I mean, this true sign of delegation, when you get the work back and it's better than anything you could possibly have done in a more time efficient way, it's impressive, right? So, and that's when you have this fully functioning team. I would hate to lose either one of them because they're both wonderful. Actually, I would say that about our entire team. But these two specifically, we've bonded. And at the same time, because we've bonded, I really want to see them accomplish their goals. So
Cool. Hey, this is episode number 107, and we are here with Shauna Smith, who is the Director of Instruction for the Marshalltown Community School District. And guys, I got to talk about one of our advertisers real quick here. Okay.
oh boy.
Yeah, one of our advertisers is the Healthy Teacher, and I actually signed up for their courses, for their program. It was a New Year's resolution, and I'm telling you, they got some awesome stuff, and they are offering a well-being course here this spring. And this is a 4-week Zoom course that will equip your educators. So this is for educational leaders, for educators, for teachers, with the knowledge, practicalities, confidence they need for to end the school year well. So it's a new course they're offering. I'm looking, it's a 4-week course. You can use your ESSER fund to sign up for this. So, hey, if you're looking for something to like slingshot you in, it's going to be summer weather here soon, which means pools, which means beaches, which means being outside. So, hey, if you want to get in tip top shape, check out the Healthy Teacher. It's two girls. They're awesome. It's Reagan and Lauren. And I tell you what, if you mention this podcast, Shauna,
oh boy,
guess what you get? You get 15% off it's a pretty good deal. I'm telling you, I'm looking at the prices here. It's already a great deal. You can get it for your staff. You can get it for your group. You can get for you and your two admin. Maybe that's a nice little, you got the doorbell. Now give them a Healthy Teacher membership. So again, guys, I can't speak highly enough about the Healthy Teacher. Just tell Reagan and Lauren you listen to this podcast, and they will give you 15% off. Just go to thehealthyteacher.com. Again, thehealthyteacher.com. Okay, Shauna, I got 6 quick hitter questions for you.
Wow.
Okay. And then we'll get you out of here. All right. So you can go out and experience Dallas. You got one night left, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Favorite place? You can only get coffee from one place. Where are you going?
Duncan.
What are you getting?
Gosh, that's a tough choice. Probably iced coffee. What was the one that you used to like? Do you remember?
Oh, I switched it up quite a bit.
I know. The one.
I used to love
the macchiato.
lattes. I
The
used to love the
macchiato.
latte. No, I wasn't a macchiato. Well, maybe I
I
was.
okay, that's probably my favorite, and I get it with skim milk
The
and
macchiato with skim
one
milk.
pump of vanilla, which is exactly what you used to get.
That is the key. That is the key. And we just talked about the healthy teacher. Okay, guys, we know Dunkin' tastes amazing. It's gonna taste amazing when you've got 4 pumps of
So true.
or whatever French vanilla or whatever it is that you put in there. That is hundreds of calories. 1 pump is plenty. Do you agree?
Yeah, it's great. It tastes really good. Skim milk and 1 pump of vanilla. It tastes great.
There you
It
go.
really does.
Okay, so you just left Dunkin' with your macchiato with 1 pump and the ice. It's an iced macchiato with 1 pump. You're going to the convenience store, Shauna. What are you grabbing? You get 3 items. You're at Casey's there.
Geez.
Okay, you're at the Casey's down near Menards, if I'm thinking correctly.
Okay. Yeah.
What are you getting? What are you grabbing? 3 items.
Probably a Diet Mountain Dew.
So you got the macchiato and the Diet Mountain Dew?
Well, if I go to Casey's, it's usually Diet Mountain Dew. That's a tough call. If it's the morning, then maybe breakfast pizza. If you haven't, I mean, people who know Casey's, they know Casey's breakfast pizza is awesome.
Do you go bacon or sausage?
Bacon.
Okay.
Gosh. Maybe a lottery ticket.
Okay. So Shauna has got her macchiato with the 1 pump of vanilla. Then she goes and grabs the Mountain Dew, Diet Mountain Dew. Then she's got her
breakfast pizza.
Got her lottery ticket. Shauna, what is, if you want the one song to pump you up for that morning, because you said it was morning, what is the song that's going to pump you up?
These are hard questions.
I'm asking you what song you want to pump you up in the morning.
Okay. Well, I do not listen to the same music that you do.
I'm not even sure what that means, but I've seen your music. We're on the same wavelength.
Okay. I do listen to Justin Bieber. I am going to his concert in April. Very excited about that. But in the morning, I don't know. I don't listen to like pump me up kind of music. I usually listen to maybe like country. Luke Combs, probably. Lee Bryce. He's amazing. Yep. I wouldn't say one specific song. How about you? You look like you are dying to tell me your favorite song.
Okay. So what I was going to say is I've asked this question like 5 shows in a row and nobody can give me a stinking song. Well, I'm just asking for one song.
You had to tell us.
It is like pulling teeth at this point for a stinking song that you like. Not even just naming one. Okay. You said Luke Combs and Lee Bryce. We're getting somewhere, but you can't even give me a song. What song right now is going to pump me up? You know what song has been pumping me up a little bit? I'm not. Transparency.
You have to be genuine, and I will know if you're lying.
Full transparency. Post Malone, Better Now.
Okay, I believe you.
Because it's just kind of like pumps me up. Like,
how about
I always like? Okay, go ahead.
How about Happy? The song that we play for like every single PD.
Pharrell Williams.
Yeah.
Is that right? Okay. All right. We got a song, guys. We got
a song.
So my next question, number 4 was, and you said Bieber, so let's pick a different one. So that night, okay, so this is a Friday morning. You've done your Dunkin' run. You've done your Casey's run. You're listening to your song. You're going to work. That night, there's a concert. You can go to any concert you want in the United States, any concert you want. Who are you going to?
Maybe Keith Urban.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because my husband refuses to go with me. So if I could make him go to that one concert, I mean, this has been like Keith has come to the state fair.
Yeah, I thought so.
In Iowa, there's been lots of opportunities, and I do not know why Ben will not go.
Have you gone?
No, that's why
Okay,
I
so
want
you
to go.
haven't. I didn't know if you had gone and said, "Hey, for Ben,
No,
just you stay at
but
home. I'll go."
to be fair, he won't go to Justin Bieber either. So I'm taking my 11-year-old daughter and my
Now
mother-in-law.
he went to Lee Bryce with you, right?
Oh yeah. Yes. He
Okay,
loved that.
okay. So there's hope.
He loves country. And Lee Bryce, he put on a great show.
But for some
Actually,
Keith Urban, he's just not feeling it.
yeah, he's too Australian, I guess. I don't know.
Nicole Kidman, he has not his
Yeah.
wife.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And she's gorgeous. So you'd think that he'd at least respect that, but it's really
Yeah,
funny.
respect the game,
Mhm.
respect the game.
Right.
Okay, so you're getting ready for the concert. It sounds like you're going to Keith Urban with or not without Ben. We're not sure yet.
Yep.
And you're relaxing a little bit. You're reading a book. What's your favorite book, Shauna? We asked you this question before, but we're going to ask you again.
Yeah. Tell everybody why I can't use the same answer. And you know what? They are going to have to go back to podcast number 2 to figure out my favorite book, which is no longer my favorite book. And it's actually kind of your fault that it's no longer my favorite book.
I know exactly what book you're talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, go back to episode number 2 and go and listen to what book she talked about. Because you're right. You have done a 180 on this author. Ever since I dropped a few bits of knowledge on you, you have done a 180.
Yes. Yeah. So you're going to laugh at this and it's going to make me sound like a big nerd, but I love HBR. Like, you know this, right? I've told you this.
I know this. Yes.
I cannot get enough of Harvard Business Review. And it doesn't really matter the topic. If there's women leaders out there, the Women in Leadership one is really good. I've loaned it out to a couple of my friends. But really, I just can't get enough of it. They're just short articles that are really like to the point, anchored in data, research based, and I can find something that is practical, useful, and I like kind of go back to it. Eventually I'll remember. The one on emotional intelligence is really good. But to be fair, I haven't found one that I don't like. And some people probably would read 2 pages and say this is the most boring book I've ever read. But I don't read a lot of books like just for pleasure. It's a lot of professional reading that I have. I actually have, this is my newest one that I've been reading.
Nice. Oh yeah. Yep.
I don't know if you've heard of it, but it was actually quoted today in the conference, which was pretty cool because this is not even a John Hattie conference, but these mind frames are incredible. I think I might have texted you one of them just for leaders in general. And I think I've got a couple administrators or colleagues that I'm going to meet at like a local restaurant in Marshalltown. We're going to work our way through each of those mind frames this summer. So kind of excited.
So yeah, now you showed me the book, but you realize 95% of our people are not watching us or listening to us. So what book is that?
Oh, geez. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for telling me. That's crazy. This whole time I thought people were watching. 10 Mind Frames for Leaders, the Visible Learning Approach to School Success. And it was published in 2021. And if you're a principal out there who understandably does not have a lot of additional time for reading, this would be a book that you wouldn't even have to read ahead of time. You could probably sit down for a book study and like thumb through it together and look at the strategies that are there. So I'm really excited about it. It's been sitting on my desk at work for probably like 3 months. And this trip, I was looking through what I had and I thought, all right, I'm going to grab that. And I was reading already, just kind of quoting and gearing up for some of the information. Just like, I think there's a lot to be said about emotional intelligence and the mind frames that we have, especially as we navigate COVID and working through hopefully the tail end of the pandemic.
Okay. So the end of the day, so you read your book.
HBR.
You read HBR, and I agree. HBR is fun to read. They're easy. They're nice. You know, you can go through. They're digestible pieces. You know,
It's quick.
6 to 10
Yeah.
pages worth, if that, of good research-based, great best practices. I completely agree. There's box sets on Amazon, which are great
Yeah.
gifts. They're great. Okay, so you read in your HBR, and then you go watch Keith Urban puts on a great show. You come home at night, you're still pumped. You're still like your ears are ringing a little bit. You can't sleep, and you just want to binge your favorite show on Netflix for the next 2 hours because you're just so wide awake. Maybe you've had a couple beverages. I don't know. What show are you going to binge? What is your go-to Netflix show?
Can you guess?
What I recall was, and I don't know my shows at all. I do not know my shows at all. I remember you liked that show, Game of Thrones. I remember you used to love Game of Thrones. That would be my best guess. I don't even know if that's a Netflix show. I have no clue.
You've never seen it, huh?
I with my ex-wife, we tried to watch it for a season. We got in like 3 episodes, and then we lost
Couldn't do it.
a little bit of interest. I don't know. Maybe
So
that's why we're
Game
not
of-
together. Yeah.
Yeah. Game of Thrones is actually Ben's favorite show.
Okay.
He watches that like he has seen multiple episodes multiple times. And there's YouTube analysts that will watch the show and analyze what's happening. And he will even sometimes engage
Watch
with that,
those.
which is crazy. I personally, even today still love just turning on The Office and laughing. Like there's just a lot to be said about humor. And
Is that still on Netflix?
it's on Peacock. And then
Okay.
we have YouTube TV, and we have it recorded on YouTube
Sure,
TV, so we
sure.
can go and watch any episode. But on Peacock, they have The Office, like there's the unedited version, so you can see these extra scenes that weren't actually published the first time or produced the first time. So I've been working my way through that. They've got 4 seasons like that, and it's actually pretty funny. And like all of a sudden a new scene will hit, and I'm like hitting Ben, like, Ben, wake up. Did you see that? Like, and it's like 10 seconds of like Angela talking, and then it goes right back to the regular episode. And I chuckle, but that's how well I know the show when I can recognize these little splices that weren't in the original. And my children every once in a while will watch it, and they just get a kick out of Dwight and some of the different characters. So all-time favorite, that's probably my all-time favorite, just because of the humor. It can make me laugh no matter how stressful of a day that I've had.
Okay, I'm adding one more question, then we're out of here. It's
Okay.
8:00. Okay. So you
It's
fall
not
asleep.
8:00 for our listeners.
This is true. It could be any
Yeah.
time wherever you're listening.
Yeah.
So you watch on Peacock, you're watching The Office with the unedited, additional scenes. You finally fall asleep. You wake up in the morning and you grab your favorite bowl of cereal. What are you grabbing for your favorite bowl of cereal?
Golden Grams.
Golden Grams. Okay.
That's not hard to answer. Like that's
whoa, that was confident.
Yep. How about you?
Did I? Oh yeah, I did answer my song. Okay. I would say I've been asked this. I always use the same answer, which is Cinnamon Toast Crunch, a close competitor to Golden Grams.
It is just not quite the same.
Golden Grams is pretty good. God, it sounds really good.
If you had to eat 5 bowls of Golden Grams or 5 bowls of Cinnamon Toast Crunch, which one would you pick?
I get what you're saying, because Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a little too sugary to like maintain for 5 bowls. I get what you're saying. Ooh, probably Golden Grams might win that one out. But here's the secret, Shauna. Here's the secret in my mind is have a bowl or 2 of Cinnamon Toast Crunch and then switch over to like your favorite little bit healthier cereal and use the same milk with that cinnamon sugar, it tastes so good. Like just go to regular Cheerios
Yep.
with that cinnamon milk. It's like perfect. Or
I could do that. I could easily do that.
okay, let's ask one more question.
Okay. One more question.
What are you having with your golden, like, what's your go-to side item? Is it toast? Is it bagel? Is it Pop-Tart? Are you having anything else with it? What's your side item?
Okay. Bagel for sure. Love bagels with cream cheese. Here's the thing. Dunkin' Donuts has these bagel bites, which is basically, and I know people can't see me, I'm using my hands, like a round bagel or like bread, and then the cream cheese is in the middle.
Ooh.
And it's really good. And you can buy, there's 2 of them. They're called mini bagel bites or something like that. And I cannot find them anywhere in grocery stores because my kids eat them like crazy. I would love to just have them on hand that they could put them in the microwave and make them in the morning. And it's a lot faster or quicker than it is to toast a bagel and then put cream cheese on the bagel or spread it. So if anyone out there does know of bagel bites that you can buy in a grocery store, message Jared so Jared can message me and I can know where to go find those.
That's awesome. Hey, that's a great way to end the show. I've never ended the show on a bagel bites discussion, but I feel like it's a fitting end to our conversation here. So we've come full circle here. So, hey, Shauna, thank you so much. I think I could be biased, but I feel like that was probably a lot better than episode number 2. So,
I agree.
but if you want to go find out what that book is, this mysterious book that Shauna was used to be a huge fan of, and now she can't stand, go check out episode number 2. And
we're gonna have to do like another podcast just on the book and why I don't like it anymore.
Oh, it's funny. So hey, Shauna, enjoy your time down in Dallas. Have fun tonight. Yeah, we'll be in touch here, of course, and good luck with the rest of the year there. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Good luck with your transition and Waterloo. I hope you're excited. South Tama, I know, is really disappointed to be losing you, Jared, and always look back on the 3 years we had working together and really fortunate to have that time. So thank you for inviting me back. I appreciate it.
And thank you for making time here to join us on the show. And all right, Shauna, have fun, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep, no problem. Yep, bye.